This is part 2 to my duology on H2O Just Add Water. In my first video I covered season 1 and in this video I'm covering seasons 2 and 3. If you're unfamiliar with the show, I recommend watching part 1 first, but otherwise you can watch these in any order you wish. Just so you know, there's spoilers in this video, and also like and subscribe. Anyways, in 2006 H2O became a beloved classic amongst 10-year-old girls in Australia, and the creators had to follow up the first season with something even better. How is that possible? How can you improve upon perfection? That's like trying to make a sequel for The Shawshank Redemption, or Citizen Kane, or Aliens in the Attic. When I finished season 1, I had no idea where they'd go with it, and in all honesty, they kind of surprised me with season 2. But was it a good surprise? Or a bad surprise?
The ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means.
I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. From a technical standpoint, H2O Just Add Water isn't great. The writing is often weird, the acting is quite weak, and overall it's a very flawed show. However, as a kid you can look past that, and as a grown-up you can appreciate those things ironically. Season 1 is like a 5 out of 10 if you're looking at it objectively, but in terms of enjoyment, I'd say it's pretty comfortably a 10 out of 10. However, season 2 switches things up. The actors are kind of good now, the writing is kind of good now, Cleo isn't stupid, what? The show improved on literally all fronts, yet interestingly, this kind of made things worse. The bad parts of the show were what made it fun, but suddenly a lot of those things were gone. I noticed when I watched season 2 with my brother that there were a lot less things to laugh at, which made certain parts drag. It felt like the show got boosted up to a 7 out of 10 on the objective rating, but on the enjoyment rating it dropped to a 7 out of 10. A basic synopsis of the season is the 3 girls get their powers upgraded, Cleo and Lewis break up and Lewis starts dating this new girl called Charlotte. Charlotte ends up becoming a mermaid, but it turns out she has all of the powers combined, making her a super mermaid. And then she turns kind of evil because of jealousy and a superiority complex. I don't know, it happens to the best of us.
Isn't this fantastic?
Charlotte is probably the most polarizing figure in the history of H2O Just Add Water. Usually when writers create villains, they try to make them likable or cool or redeemable in some way so the audience enjoys them being on screen. But with Charlotte, it feels like they took the complete opposite approach. She's so irrationally evil and frustratingly annoying that I've never hated a character more in my life. And that's not just me, that's literally everyone who's ever watched the show. I've never heard anyone say a positive thing about Charlotte, but I think that's the point. Charlotte is a perfect case study on how to write a character that the audience wants to root against. She broke up the main couple of the show, she stole all the cool abilities that the main characters had, and then she had the audacity to be the most evil and envious person ever. I've heard some people say that Charlotte was likable early on in season 2. I don't agree with this, but I just wanted to throw that opinion out there to give representation to all of the Charlotte fans watching. Also, in the last 5 minutes of the finale, her character does a complete 180 and she's suddenly sorry for everything, which was very random. Honestly, I kind of feel bad for her actress because she did a good job and probably gets a lot of unnecessary hate. People forget how mean Cleo was towards Charlotte at the beginning of the season, but I don't think that rationalizes how crazy Charlotte got near the end. My personal favorite scene in all of H2O is this scene of Charlotte by the pool, because what she does is so over the top and dumb that I just love it.
What the hell?
Another character introduced this season is Ash. He's a horseboy who works at the Juice Net Cafe. He replaced Byron as Emma's love interest, and I don't know how to feel about him. Both Ash and Byron were pretty one-dimensional and didn't get much screen time, so it's hard to say who's better. But overall, Ash is only kind of cool and kind of chill, while Byron is very cool and very chill. So I personally prefer Byron. In the previous season there was that mysterious old woman, but in this season she's gone and replaced by a mysterious old man. They really shook things up there. The old woman was meant to be like Cleo from the 1950s, while the old man is meant to be like Lewis from the 1950s, which is an interesting idea.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme, Jar Jar is a key to all this.
The most forgettable character in all of H2O is Cleo's mum. She had literally no personality, she just kind of stood there sometimes. I think the creators wanted to write her out of the show, so they made it so that her and Cleo's father got a divorce. H2O was really at the forefront of single dad representation in TV. Shout out to all of the single dads watching. Here's a highlight reel to show you guys what Cleo's mum was like. This is off topic, but can we appreciate how good the tails and underwater scenes are? When I first heard the premise of the show, I thought the special effects would be horrible, but they're actually really good. It seems like a lot of care went into making them. Also, the actresses had to learn how to swim with tails, which is a big commitment, and it's very cool that they did that. I feel like season 2 by far out of all of the seasons has the best overarching storyline. This season doesn't have as many standout episodes or moments as the previous season, but as a whole it works together perfectly. And even though it does drag at points, I feel like the last 5 episodes where Charlotte turns evil makes up for that, since that is probably the peak of the entire show. In my opinion, season 2 is better than season 1, but overall season 1 is still my personal favorite. It kind of feels like H2O can do no wrong.
Came a long way from that Woodlawn Park. Now young, I mean they push and push to start.
The storylines in the previous 2 seasons were relatively tame for a show about teenage mermaids. In season 1, it was just the mermaids trying to hide their powers from the world. In season 2, a new mermaid came in which shook things up, but this season just gets crazy. Here's a synopsis. Ricky and Zane have a restaurant, this goes here now, this goes here now, this guy's here now, there's a giant tentacle, Ricky gets kidnapped, there's random musical moments, Ricky and Zane break up, and of course the world is gonna get hit by a meteor. Claire Hull, Emma's actress, left the show at the end of season 2 to go work on the movie Messages to the Scarecrow, a direct-to-DVD supernatural horror movie. And honestly, it is one of the movies of all time. Emma was replaced by Bella, who, hot take alert, might be kind of a better character. Emma was usually a foil to Ricky's rebelliousness and Cleo's naivety, which worked for the plot, but she's generally the least liked out of the original trio. I like Emma, but I get why some people say Bella's more likable. Bella's sort of sensitive and quiet but bubbly at the same time. I think it works. But also, I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up Bella's personality when writing the script for this video, so I guess that kind of goes against my point. Also, I swear that's meant to be Cleo's personality. I don't know, when you watch the show, her character works, it just sounds dumb when I explain it. Personally, I think Emma is better, but I see the appeal for Bella. Bella's power is turning water into jelly, which is quite dumb and very rarely useful. Also, she's Irish apparently, even though there's nothing Irish about her at all. Another character they introduced is Will, who's Bella's love interest. He's a diver whose entire personality is diving, and he's basically Byron too. Will actually gets the screen time he deserves, and I quite like him, even though his acting can be quite hit or miss.
The wall was one big waterfall. Lightning or something was coming off it. Right here, I swear. Something came for me from the pool. Water. It attacked me.
Will's older sister Sophie is his diving coach, and she's basically just as evil as Kim and Charlotte. For some reason, she's really strict with Will's training, she likes to get a job at Ricky's diner, and she single-handedly breaks up Ricky and Zane. At the end of the season, she destroys the moon pool for some magic crystals, but just like Charlotte, her character does a complete 180 and suddenly stops being evil because of the power of love or something. There was constant discussion in the comments of my previous video about who is worse, Kim, Charlotte, or Sophie, and I don't really know. Charlotte basically commits attempted murder, and Sophie is an environmental criminal, but Kim is just super annoying. Either way, the creators really don't like redheads. In the previous 2 seasons, there was a recurring character called Nate. He was kind of Zane's sidekick who didn't really do anything important other than having random funny moments. But since he starts a band with Bella in this season, he kind of becomes a prominent character. He sort of embodies that overly lustful Barney Stinson archetype, and I can imagine why somebody would hate Nate because those sort of characters can often be creepy. But in my opinion, Nate kind of carried season 3. I think he's endearing because he just constantly gets rejected and it's funny to watch. I feel like Nate's actor is the only actor on the entire show who can do comedy well. Other characters like Cleo, for example, often have funny moments, but in my opinion, Nate out of all of the characters has the best timing, delivery, and lines by quite a bit. He's very underrated. I wish he got the respect he deserves.
Listen to me. I will never, ever go out with you.
So that's a no.
We try to have fun on this channel, but I'm gonna have to be serious for this next part. I don't even know whether I can say it. Lewis leaves the show halfway through. I know this is meant to be a review of season 3, but technically I haven't seen the second half because my eyes were just filled with so many tears due to Lewis's departure that I just couldn't see the screen. The show makes up for this by bringing back Lewis for the finale, which is cool. And also Cleo starts embodying a lot of Lewis's traits, like being a huge nerd for example, but it's just not the same. Another thing that happened this season is Ricky and Zane owning a diner. This diner replaced the Juicenet Cafe, which I'm sure made some fans mad, but also this idea led to a lot of interesting storylines. However, the writers also decided to destroy Ricky and Zayn's relationship by making Sophie kiss Zayn. I know they did it to give the season some drama and to make the audience hate Sophie, but I feel like it was unnecessary. Zayn was always sort of an anti-hero, but in the second half of season 3 they really leaned into him being a big meanie. And I didn't like that because he changed a lot over the show, and it felt a little regressive to make him borderline a villain again. They remixed the show's theme song so Bella, the Irish one, sings it. And I don't know, I think it's very weirdly sung and mixed. Bella's other songs in the show are decent, but I didn't love this new intro, so it sort of became a joke between me and my brother. So when the show ended with Bella performing it live, it was the craziest thing ever for us. Speaking of the finale, it was pretty satisfying. All the characters graduated, Bella and Will got together, and the asteroid was stopped by a mermaid laser. It was cool seeing how all of the characters developed over the show. I wish Emma would have came back for the final episode like Lewis did, but I guess she was off celebrating the success of her new movie. Overall, season 3 was quite a mess, but I still enjoyed it, even if it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the show.
Met this pretty ting, nice to meet you, mucho gusto.
I feel like I sound a lot more critical in this video than I did in my first one, but all the positive things I said previously still apply here. The show's very creative, unique, and surprisingly well written. You could argue that H2O kind of jumped the shark with season 3, but even then you can respect the technical improvements as well as all of the actors getting better. This show on paper is stupid, yet it's had such a lasting impact on so many people. Why? Well, it's because everyone who worked on H2O was passionate about it. When people work hard and smart about a thing they care about, greatness happens. Dumb, soulless corporate things are made every year, but only projects with real heart build a legacy. Anybody can achieve anything if they put the time into it, no matter how ambitious or stupid it may seem. And in the weirdest way possible, H2O embodies exactly that.